I'll bring more music and dance to the world.
To me, leadership is about being able to get something meaningful done.
The ability to have others accomplish more with your help than they could have ever accomplished on their own.
Guiding people and leading people, not just in a way that gets things done, but it actually forwards the growth of the people that you're leading.
Thinking about your community, thinking about the young people coming up behind you.
Taking responsibility for what matters to you. That's it.
Doing the right thing just extraordinarily well.
My sister, together with her husband, raised 4 amazing kids. My niece has made a career of turning around really dysfunctional vet hospitals. And I have a really good friend, Dr. Jackie Sullivan, who's building a curriculum for high school, junior high and high school teachers to teach engineering. And she's gotten all these grants, she's gotten all these volunteers, and they have the most comprehensive curriculum to help kids learn science. They're all leaders. They're just leaders in different walks of life.
I want to teach kids how to be really good artists.
What compels me is when I see potential in people and you can see the seed of something and it just needs some nurturing or coaching or a nudge or a push or something. Like you can't help but want to do that.
A sense of responsibility to home, and when I say home, I'm speaking about my family and my people from the Navajo Nation in Arizona.
Nobody comes to work every day saying, I really hope that I do a mediocre job. I can't wait to do a C+ job at this. I think everybody starts every single day wanting to do the very best they can. And so, as a school leader, my job is to help people do that.
When I grow up, I want to be the President of the United States.
When I think about the qualities that are necessary to lead,
Having a vision, being able to communicate, understanding the capability of your people, and then finally, being able to be consistent in terms of your own actions.
I think listening is huge.
The qualities that I think of when I think of leadership, the first one is you have to have imagination. You have to be able to see things that aren't there and that other people don't necessarily see.
Having a sense about what continuous improvement looks like in whatever the role or the job or the company.
One, you have to have passion. I think it just has to drive you.
Courage to fill the picture in when nobody else can see it, and to help other people start to see it, and to still believe when nobody else does.
Honesty is another one that I think you really need.
Persistence. You just keep going, because it takes a long time to make something imaginary real.
Vision, because people want to know where they're going, not where they've been.
They have to have a vision and a mission that they're so clear about that they can communicate to other people.
Clarity to make sure that you can fully explain that journey to whoever's with you.
I think you need to be open and a really great listener to ensure that you hear when you need to change.
I think they have to be disciplined. They have to be role models. They have to actually represent and be an example of what they're looking for in other people. And I think they have to be willing to be wrong.
Sometimes you have to be patient with people while they start to see what you see, but sometimes you have to be impatient because systems will always stop magical things from happening, and you can't let the system stop you.
I want to be a gymnastics coach so I can help everybody else that needs help doing gymnastics.
People don't want to ride the roller coaster with you when you're a leader. And what I've really learned is on days where I'm having a really bad day and just feel like a Grinch, that I really shouldn't either come to work or I should spend time in my office and not really interact with people. Likewise, if I'm feeling overly emotional about something, I also need to sort of keep to myself a bit, because it's important as a leader that people see you as a real person, but I think the real person doesn't need to be one that has great highs and great lows, and I think that's something I've personally tried to tame over time.
as a minority person, there's always this comment out there of like, oh, well, you got it because you're a minority person. And then, of course, that comment puts into your mind, oh, well, do I really deserve this? Is it only because I'm a minority person? And then I have to tell myself, I work really hard to get to this point.
I don't like being told what to do, and so I really have to deal with that as probably the biggest obstacle. So I haven't run into obstacles in the workplace that are external to me as much as I run into my own personal weakness of understanding that I don't like authority.
Despite what people see on the outside, I'm a complete introvert. Succeeding required me doing two things. One, I had to learn to go to the place where I could speak, present, and be effective at it when I wanted to kind of cower in the corner, or I wanted to sit at the back of the room. And the other thing is I had to find a way to recharge. I had to learn what it took to balance who I had to be in business with who I was as a person, and how much me time, quiet time, away time, workout time it took to keep me fully charged so that I could be the person I am when I'm at work.
I would like to be a general in the Air Force.
So I was in Japan last week, and I actually had an incident where I was treated more disrespectfully in that kind of 5-minute encounter than I've been in 30 years. He started just abusing me in reality, and he at one point said, "Stop talking." He said, my job is to talk. Your job is to be silent, smile, and then say yes. It got so hot that he left the room, and he came back in about 5 minutes, and he'd calmed himself down, and then we had a really, really, really productive discussion. And I walked out of there, and this is a man who has that reputation, and I've heard horror stories about him, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and stewed about it, and I actually woke up probably 15 times in the night thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? I have to say something. I have to say something. And so the next day we were talking, and he'd gotten himself to the place that he was really very positive about what we were doing. And I said, I really need to talk about what happened the other day. And he said, it's no big deal. He said, we're both strong personalities. And I said, I'm really still steamed. And I said, and I want to talk about it. And I told him that never in 30 years had anyone, any CEO even, ever treated me that way. And I told him, I said, you know, it's obvious from the fact that you got up and you left the room that you know you have an issue. And I said, and what I want to tell you is, number one, how angry you made me. I said, but number two, clearly you're working on it. And I said, and the guy who came back after you calmed yourself down, I'd walk to the ends of the earth to try and support. But the guy who was abusing me can go to hell.
When resistance comes up, it usually looks like procrastination or maybe a little bit of denial. And when you're in a leadership role, one of the things that, for me, what kicks me out of that is realizing that I'm where the buck stops. There isn't anybody else to put it on, and something's not going to get done if I don't step up and do it. Whether I want to or not, or whether I'm afraid of it or not, you just have to do it.
I let go a little bit and see where it takes me. And so I think that resistance actually sometimes can be a benefit to you, but you have to be open and aware of everything around you to make that help you go forward in a positive way.
I would say fear maybe is what comes up when I think about resistance within myself.
It's tempting to go in the direction for women in general to think that it's hard to do that because we're women. And I just don't believe in that at all. I think that's true to the degree that you believe it.
Luckily, I spent my early part of my career doing sort of adventurous things, and fear was a daily, was your friend daily. And so you kind of just learn to take a deep breath and go for it.
Being an entrepreneur and being a leader isn't hard because we're women. It's hard because it's hard. It's like running a marathon. It's hard for everybody. And you just have to do it anyway. In fact, for people who are pessimistic or think you can't do it or have all these like lots and lots of facts about why it's hard, I would say the best answer is, so what? So what?
Taking the emotion out of any kind of decision that I'm making and really put more into going off of facts and information and the numbers that I gather so that I could really make a full-hearted decision that's going to be best for, again, the employees, the community, my customers.
What I had to find is a way to change the ground and to be able to win based on who I am and what I believe and my values.
I want to inspire girls to be great artists.
At the end of the day, success comes from believing in yourself.
I don't think there's any way you can be successful without believing in yourself. I don't.
I think it's possible to succeed by yourself. However, having that strong support system behind you that can help you push forward on your good days and your bad days, and how much more enjoyable is it to have a good support system. So I think it's way better to have a support system to be successful.
I want to be a charity leader.
Confidence can be a little deceiving because it also looks like courage. It also looks like fearlessness. And because you can be afraid of something and do it anyway, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have confidence. It just means you did it anyway.
Confidence isn't always the roar. Sometimes it's saying, we're just gonna give this another shot tomorrow.
I have to make sure that I gather the information that I need to make the proper decisions that lead my confidence. And once people really feel that I have the confidence, then they're so much more at ease.
I want to be a movie director and a TV show director when I grow up.
It looks like a hit. You know, like you just get this hit of, I think this is what we should do. And what happens is that anything other than that just feels wrong, and not for any logical reason. And sometimes even your intuitive decisions don't necessarily make sense, and they can be hard to explain, and you just have to let them be hard to explain and do it anyway.
That gut check is hard and it's fast, and I know it pretty much. It's like, if I know I'm going to take the shot, I know that taking the shot is the right thing to do, but it's deep down there. It gurgles a lot.
Intuition is a key way that I make decisions today, but I also have 30 years of experience that kind of gives you a library of things that you can tap into when you have to make a decision.
My funny little system is really looking for 3 what some people would call coincidences. And they're things that come from completely unrelated places, but they all line up in pointing the same general direction. It's a great system, but you have to combine it with fact, you have to combine it with experience. But when you have fact and you have experience, and then you have these 3 kind of really unrelated things that all point you in that direction, and you know you need to go that way anyway, you just don't know whether it's this way or it's this way, but it points you in a direction, and then you know.
I want to be a dance teacher to help girls that don't have money and that can't afford it. If it's too expensive for them, I'll do it for free.
1, know yourself really well. If you can take the time to, you can know your industry, your market, your team, there's lots of skills, but know yourself the best. Because if you know what you're passionate about and you know what your own strengths are, that will help you in the long run.
Growing up, I was a sailor, and I was a competitive sailor. And when you sail, you have to have strategies because you have to know everything around you. You have to know the weather, you have to know where the other boats are, you have to know the currents. And that really made you aware of 360, everything, every dimension.
It's not going to be easy. Easy is overrated and boring, and nothing exciting and interesting and innovative happens because it's easy. So once you get over that hump and just acknowledge that it's going to take some effort and you might make some mistakes, I think that and we can relax around it being hard. That is a big piece of advice that goes a long way, I think.
Really, you have to be calm, you have to be focused, right? And you have to know, for example, the wind, right? You have a tendency to want to pull in because you think that pulling in the sail will make you go faster, when in reality, you have to let that sail out, and that actually pushes you further along.
Find your mentors. You have to have mentors in life.
have fun, enjoy the path.
Understand the people that you're leading and what their capabilities are and what their desires are and what they're trying to accomplish. Because I think when you become a leader, you move from a very internally focused position to one which is very external, and people are looking to you and depending on you. And I think the more that you can understand what their needs are, what their desires are, the better leader that you're going to be.
You have to make it about something that's bigger than money or fame or wealth or prestige. It has to be something that keeps you going every single day. As a leader, you need to dare to be happy, and you have to dare to pray.
Find something that's bigger than you, that you care deeply and passionately about, and then take the journey.
I want to be an entrepreneur and an advocate for animals and nature.
Just believe in yourself and have confidence in who you are as a person, and don't try to be somebody else. Try to be who you are and really understand your strengths, what you do great, and also be aware of your weaknesses. Again, as I've looked at my own career, my weaknesses are the things that have held me back. So I think as a young leader, really trying to develop your strengths and be aware of your weaknesses is very important.
Today's world is so complicated, and there are so many things that are so broken that the world needs tons of leaders. They need great male leaders. The world needs great female leaders. And it needs leaders who can lead in all different ways. Sometimes, I'm at a stage in my life, I want to lead from behind. I don't want to pay the price of being the one out in front. And so I work through other people. I work to make myself almost as invisible as I can be so that other people can stand up and be the ones in front, take the credit, and it's all good because I'm kind of about the end objective. And I think right now in the world, finding a place where you can contribute and you can make a difference and doing it the way that it works for you, that's what the world needs, and that's what being a leader really